Hey, it's been a while, and I thought I'd give an update as to how I'm doing. You can see I'm in a different room now. I have a better camera, a better microphone, and it's getting to be right around Christmas, so that's why you see all the packaging around. But yeah, let's see. It's been quite a year. So 2021, I find out I have cancer. I do the chemo, surgery, chemo, and a number of CT scans later, and I am now gone from stage 4 cancer to cancer free. So, yay! Um, so I've been doing CT scans once every 3 months. As anyone who's been watching these, I had my surgery in June, and I had my second surgery in August to remove that ostomy bag. Oh my, worst period of my life. So since August, every 3 months, I've been doing a CT scan, and all have come back negative. Now they did say they found something in the image the very first time. They weren't sure what it was. But they didn't think it was cancerous. And every subsequent scan showed the exact same thing, hadn't grown, hadn't done anything. So they said I shouldn't need to worry about that. And I've probably had 6 CT scans since then. Do my math right? 4 this year and 2 last to end it. So yeah, cancer free, stage 4. So 2022, much better year cancer wise. Just had my second colonoscopy. So I had the first one, which discovered the cancer, and I had the second one last week, which is what made me think about giving an update, since it kind of bookends what's happened since the first colonoscopy to the second colonoscopy. So with the second one, I got done. I didn't fall asleep during it, which is kind of disturbing. I kept waiting I was actually on my side looking at the clock, just going, okay, any second now, and I could feel it go in, but it didn't feel like much. So I kept thinking, oh God, there's something going on. They can't, and all of a sudden it was done. I'm like, what? And they led me out and said, okay, they really frown upon Uber coming to pick you up. They want a family member or a friend. And I had my friend pick me up, and he got me in front of the hospital, and I said, just drive me to my car. I feel fine. So he did. He drove me to my car. They told me to take it easy, maybe have some soup for the day. And I drove from the hospital directly to Starbucks, got a white mocha, and then off to Wingstop to try their new chicken sandwich. So I never felt, other than drinking that crap to literally make you crap, I never felt bad during the or woozy or anything. So once again, if you need a colonoscopy, get it done. It's no big deal. I would say if you're 47 years or older, get it. So yeah, as you can see, my hair's all grown back. One interesting thing. So when I was going through the chemo, a couple of things seemed to be fixed, or at least alleviated during the time. One was the psoriasis that I got, that I was taking Otezla for, and chemo got rid of it. Tesla didn't even do that. Tesla keeps it at bay, but the chemo just completely wiped it out. And then my finger, I don't know what I did to my finger, but my finger was hurting, and during chemo, I never really had any pain with it. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be a long-term fix or not. No. Psoriasis is back. I don't know. You can see it's kind of pink right around here, but if you look at my arm, you can see all these little spots on it. That's all psoriasis stuff. So it's come back with a vengeance. I'm actually going to be starting back on the Otezla in January. And now they gave me the prescription already, but here's the thing. So I got Kaiser. They were great with the surgery stuff. Billing department, that's another story. They're horrible. But as far as health insurance wise, I've got a certain max out of pocket expense until I don't have to pay for anything, like co-pays, things like that. But there's a deductible you got to pay. Now, I am scheduled to get another CT scan in January. And if I get a CT scan done, there's a certain deductible for it. And then I have to pay $500 on top of that because it's my first time thing of the year. It has something to do with the deductible, but the initial deductible. So I'd be paying $500 out of pocket for that, and then another $500 for the actual CT, and then the insurance company actually pays me back $210. Now they only pay me back $210 that the CT scan. The initial deductible of $500 is gone. Well, funny thing, if you see those commercials at night about pharmaceuticals, they're making a ton of money. And if you watch those commercials, a lot of times it'll say at the bottom, like, call us and maybe we can help with your payments. Yeah, the reason they do that is the medication is like $3,000. And most people aren't going to pay that. So if you're like me, if I got insurance, but insurance only pays a portion of that. And so what they do is, if I have Otezla in January and I haven't used any of my deductible, I haven't done the CT scan, it's a brand new year, starting off clean, I go in with that Otezla, it's $1,000 to me. That's $500 for the deductible and then $500 for the medication. And then what I can do with that, though, is I can submit the bill back to the pharmaceutical company, Otezla, and they actually pay me back the $1,000. Now, the reason they do this is they know people can't afford the medication out of hand, and they don't want you to not get it. So instead, what they do is they will pay your deductible back to you, and you'll keep using the medication. So it's free to you, but instead of making nothing, they make $2,000 off that Otezla. Now, at some point, they're going to make a generic form, and that all goes away, and it won't really matter anymore. But the key thing here is, if I get the Otezla in January 1st, I pay that $500 deductible towards Otezla, and then $500 for the medication, submit the bill to Otezla, they give me $1,000, I'm out nothing. If I get my CT scan before I get the Otezla, I get charged $500 deductible, plus the CT scan, which is $500, and I get $210 or something back from the insurance company. So I'm out $750. Or $780 or something like that. You get the idea. So this way, I save $500. Now, the only downside of that is back, when I first got diagnosed with cancer in the appendix, I asked how do you get something like that? And they had no idea. They don't really know how people get cancer for the most part. Unless you get like skin cancer, they could say you're out in the sun too much, things like that. But appendix cancer? No, they had no idea. Well, from the amount of time that they said I had the cancer, I got it in my head that that's right around the time I started taking Otezla, or at least I'd been on Otezla for a little while. So I actually thought maybe it was the Otezla that caused my cancer, which is why when I got declared cancer-free and these marks started coming up on my arms, look at that, each arm, I didn't rush back to Otezla. Instead, I thought, you know what, I'm going to play it safe. I'm not going to take it. That might have caused my cancer. So why bother risking it? Well, it came back with a vengeance, and the creams or whatever they give me doesn't help. And when I talked to the pharmacist to do because I actually thought, maybe I'll just get the Otezla and use it for a month and then quit. so I could get out of paying that deductible for long term. But when I talked to the pharmacist, I asked the guy. Actually, it wasn't even the pharmacist. It was the dermatologist who had given me clearance to get back on the medication. I asked him about Otezla, and I said, "Hey, could this have caused my cancer?" And the guy actually said this was one of the few medications for psoriasis that didn't cause cancer, or at least it wasn't known to cause cancer. Doesn't mean it didn't, but it doesn't sound like it was the cause. So I'm like, okay, well, let's get back on it and see what happens. So there, yeah, that's been my year. Still have my lingering cough, psychosomatic reaction there, and I gained my weight back. So even after taking out all the organs, cutting out part of my stomach, intestine, never lost a ton of weight, which was really disappointing because I thought that would be one of the benefits of cancer, if you could say there's a benefit. So yeah, it didn't help at all with that department. But I don't know. For the first time I got the CT after having the cancer surgery, I was worried. I gotta admit, I went in there and I was gonna go. I was thinking they're going to do the CT scan and it's going to come up saying, oh, look, since you had 3 months since the surgery, all this cancer is now in your system again. And so that was the worst. And then, of course, I don't know what it is for most of your doctor's offices, but Kaiser, they give you the results back pretty quick. And if the radiologist, or I shouldn't say radiologist, if the cancer doctor, if he sees the scan right away, he'll put in his remarks, and then he'll do a follow-up call. Well, I read the remarks. It wasn't him. It wasn't actually him. It was, he didn't see it. He was on vacation, and he was getting back the next day. So I get the CT scan done, I get the results back, and I'm trying to decipher, and I just see that says it sees that spot. And I'm like, oh, crap. All that, and I've got cancer again. Well, the next day, or maybe it might have been a couple of days later, get himself situated when he got back, he called me up and said, no, it doesn't look like it's cancer. We'll monitor it the next time in 3 months and see what happens. And sure enough, nothing changed. So after that first CT scan, when I went in for the next one, I didn't give it a second thought. I thought, I'm cancer-free. And haven't given it much thought since, and every single time, everything's fine. Now, when I went in for the colonoscopy, it crept back in my head again. And you might be thinking, well, you had a CT scan, so that would show if you had, cancer down there. Not necessarily. As the doctor told me, he wasn't even the one who scheduled the colonoscopy for me. It was the original colonoscopy doctor. So when I actually had a conversation with the doctor, and I said, hey, I see you scheduled me, or my cancer doctor, I said, I see you scheduled me for a colonoscopy. He says, I didn't do it. And so I asked him, I said, why do I even need it? Now, I wasn't trying to get out of it. I was just curious. Is if I just had a CT scan that everything showed clear, why do I need to have a colonoscopy? Because when the colonoscopy found cancer, they had me get a CT scan to see, the extent of it. So I was under the impression the CT scan showed a lot more than a colonoscopy would. And as he put it, the colonoscopy shows the outside of the organs. The CT shows the outside of the organs. The colonoscopy shows the inside of the colon. So CT outside colon, go inside the hard way, the colonoscopy, and see the inside. So I'm like, oh, great. Maybe the CT didn't pick something up. I've got doing this colonoscopy, something bad's going to be on there. And so I kind of got back in that mindset from the first CT scan, getting kind of worried. And I went in, like I said, it was easier than the first time. When I got done, he said, everything looks good. You're good to go. Won't need to see you for 3 years. I'm like, Sweet. Well, 2 days later, I get an email from him, and he's telling me the results. And what he didn't tell me was that they took two samples from, I guess, whatever cyst or something that was up there, but they both came back negative for cancer. He didn't tell me that. He just said everything looked great. And, I started thinking about it. I'm so glad he said that, and he didn't say, well, we took a couple samples and we'll have to let you know, because that would have just put me in a mindset for a couple of days till I got the results of, oh no, here we go again. So instead, I got the illusion that everything was great, and then followed up with the specific results when they analyzed the mass, so to speak. Now, it could be he's just so good at it, he's done so many of them. I mean, pretty much all he does is, it could be that he done so many that he knows the signs to look for, and from what he extrapolated, he was like, this guy's good. I'll just tell him he's good because I'm sure he is. And I was. So, yay. So what's next? Talk to the doctor. I was thinking that maybe after doing a whole year of every 3 months doing CT, it might go to every 6 months. But he said, I just want to keep doing what we're doing. Let's do it every 3 months. So my next one's in January. And I'm fine with it. I got the process down. It's no big deal. Don't have to pay the $500 now, though I've got my Tesla idea going in my head. So, yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. That first year, I put a lot of things on hold. I didn't go on any trips. I didn't take any vacation. And you might think, well, that should be the opposite. You think you should travel and go see everything. You got a second lease on life kind of thing. I've done the traveling alone for months, and it's much better to go on a vacation with somebody else. But I really didn't want to look into getting into a new relationship with cancer hanging over my head. So now that has been declared cancer-free, my mindset's changed a bit. Got a gym membership with my daughter, and going to start, actually tomorrow, hopefully picking up a treadmill to start working out here. And it feels like for the first time in a year, I can move on from that stuff. Like I said, I've never been one of those people that wanted to burden somebody else with my cancer, which is why, people always wanted to come visit me. And, it's not that I didn't want them to come. It's I didn't want to force anybody to come. And then when they were there, I know what it's like visiting somebody in the hospital. Get in, get out. It's fine. You don't need to sit there with me for hours on end when we've run out of things to talk about and we're just staring blankly. I don't want to put anybody through anything like that. So now that I'm cancer free, I'll look to the future more. I also stopped my 401k during that time, just in case. But hey, if they find out I have cancer again, I'm going to go on a spending spree like you won't imagine. Then I would have gone on a trip. But yeah, now I got to be a grown up again and get the 401k kicked back in. So yeah. CT scan every 3 months, and I will go from there. So hope anyone who actually has been watching these gets a better idea of the process that I've gone through. A year out, no ill effects. I feel the exact same way I did before. I'm not doing anything really differently. A little more sore, but it has nothing to do with the actual surgery. It's just age. So, yeah, not a bad year, all things considering. So, I guess the next time I'll probably update this is either A, if something bad happens, or B, if something out of the ordinary happens. But for now, that was my story. Talk to you soon. Or not.